In the bustling heart of New York City, under the glittering lights of a five-star restaurant, a man in a tailored suit wiped away tears that streamed down his chiseled face. The millionaire, known for his ironclad business empire, sobbed openly as a young girl, no older than 10, stood before him with wide, hopeful eyes, clutching an empty plastic bag. "Please, sir," she whispered, "if you're done with your meal, could I have the leftovers for my little brother?" The diners around them froze, forks mid-air, as the man did something no one expected. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a set of keys, and handed them to her. "This isn't just food," he said through his tears. "This is your new life." If that moment just hit you right in the feels, smash that like button right now and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories that remind us of the power of kindness. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Hit that bell icon too. But let's rewind to how this unbelievable encounter began. Alexander Harrington was the epitome of success. At 45, he had built Harrington Enterprises from a small tech startup into a billion-dollar conglomerate that dominated the software world. His days were filled with board meetings, private jets, and lavish parties where champagne flowed like water. Yet, behind the facade of wealth, Alex was a hollow shell. 20 years ago, he had lost his wife and infant daughter in a tragic car accident caused by a drunk driver. The pain had turned him into a recluse, burying himself in work to escape the memories. He dined alone most nights, ordering extravagant meals at places like Le Chateau, only to pick at them absent-mindedly before leaving half uneaten. Friends had long given up trying to pull him out of his isolation. He was the millionaire who had everything except joy. On the other side of the city's glittering skyline lived Mia, a scrappy 9-year-old with a spirit that refused to be dimmed by hardship. She and her 5-year-old brother, Tommy, had been orphaned 2 years earlier when their parents perished in a house fire. With no relatives to take them in, they bounced between foster homes until they ran away, preferring the uncertainty of the streets to the abuse they faced in the system. Mia took on the role of protector, scavenging for food in alleyways and dumpsters. She was small for her age, with tangled brown hair and clothes that hung loosely on her frame, but her eyes sparkled with a quiet determination. Every evening, she would position herself near upscale restaurants, politely asking patrons for scraps. "It's not begging," she'd tell Tommy as they huddled under a bridge. "It's surviving until things get better." Tommy, with his innocent giggles and constant questions, was her anchor, the reason she pushed through the cold nights and empty stomachs. One crisp autumn evening, as the leaves swirled in the wind outside Le Chateau, Alex sat at his usual corner table, staring at a plate of foie gras and truffle risotto. The meal cost more than most families spent on groceries in a month, but to him, it was just another distraction. His mind wandered to the past, replaying the last happy memory of his daughter giggling in her high chair. A wave of loneliness crashed over him, but he pushed it down, signaling for the check. As he stepped out into the night, adjusting his cashmere coat against the chill, a small voice pierced the air. "Excuse me, sir. If you're leaving, could I please have what's left of your food? My brother hasn't eaten today." Alex turned, expecting a beggar or a scam artist, but instead, he saw Mia. She stood there, shivering in a threadbare sweater, her plastic bag dangling from her tiny hand. Her face was smudged with dirt, but her posture was straight, her gaze steady. Something about her, the way she held herself with quiet dignity, reminded him of his late wife, who had come from humble beginnings herself. A lump formed in his throat. "What's your name, kid?" he asked, his voice gruffer than intended. "Mia," she replied softly. "And my brother's Tommy. He's waiting over there." She pointed to a shadowy alley where a small boy peeked out, clutching a worn teddy bear. Alex felt a crack in his armored heart. He hadn't cried since the funeral, but now, tears welled up unbidden. This girl, so young and vulnerable, was fighting battles he could barely imagine. Memories flooded back, his daughter's tiny hands reaching for him, the life he could have had if fate hadn't been so cruel. "Why are you out here alone?" he managed to ask, kneeling down to her level. Mia's eyes filled with tears too, but she blinked them away. We don't have anyone. The foster homes were bad, people yelled and hit. So we left. I take care of us now. Please, sir, just the leftovers. I promise we won't bother you again. The words hit Alex like a freight train. He thought of his empty mansion, his fortune gathering dust in bank accounts, while these children scraped by on nothing. In that moment, the weight of his isolation became unbearable. He wiped his eyes, stood up, and made a decision that would change everything. Come with me, he said, extending his hand. Mia hesitated, glancing at Tommy, but something in Alex's tear-streaked face told her to trust him. She nodded, and together they walked to the alley, where Tommy shyly emerged. That night, instead of sending them away with scraps, Alex took them to a nearby diner, not a fancy one, but warm and welcoming. Over burgers and milkshakes, Mia opened up about their life on the streets, the nights they hid from rain under cardboard boxes, the times Mia skipped meals so Tommy could eat, the dreams she had of going to school and becoming a doctor to help kids like them. Tommy, wide-eyed, chattered about his teddy bear's adventures. Alex listened, his heart aching with every word. He shared his own story for the first time in years, the accident, the loss, the emptiness. I built an empire, he admitted, but I forgot how to live. As the hours passed, a bond formed. Alex realized this wasn't just a chance encounter, it was a second chance. But challenges loomed. He couldn't just take in 2 runaway kids without facing legal hurdles. The next day, he contacted his lawyers, child services, and even hired a private investigator to ensure there were no living relatives who might claim them. Mia and Tommy stayed in a hotel suite he booked, their first taste of safety in months. Yet, doubt crept in. Mia worried Alex would tire of them, like the foster parents had. What if you change your mind? She asked one evening, as they watched cartoons in the suite. Alex knelt before her, tears in his eyes again. I won't. You've given me a reason to feel again. But the process wasn't smooth. Child Services investigated Alex's background, questioning his motives as a single, wealthy man. Rumors spread in the media, tabloids painted him as an eccentric billionaire playing hero. Alex faced backlash from business partners who thought he was distracted. Meanwhile, Tommy fell ill with a fever from their street exposure, landing in the hospital. Mia blamed herself, sobbing at his bedside. I should have done better, she cried. Alex stayed with them through it all, paying for the best care and holding Mia's hand. You're not alone anymore, he assured her. As Tommy recovered, Alex pushed through the bureaucracy, attending court hearings and proving his stability. He transformed a wing of his mansion into kid-friendly spaces, bedrooms with bunk beds, a playroom stocked with toys, and a library for Mia's budding love of books. But the real challenge was emotional. Alex had to confront his grief head-on, visiting his family's gravesite with Mia and Tommy, sharing stories that healed old wounds. Months turned into a year. The adoption papers finally came through, making Mia and Tommy officially Harringtons. Alex didn't just give them a home, he gave them a future. He started a foundation in their honor, Second Chances, funding shelters and programs for orphan children across the city. Mia thrived in school, her grades soaring as she pursued her dream of medicine. Tommy's laughter filled the once silent mansion, pulling Alex into games and adventures that rekindled his joy. Looking back, that tearful night outside the restaurant was the pivot point. Alex, the crying millionaire, had done the unbelievable, not just sharing leftovers, but sharing his life. He learned that true wealth isn't in bank accounts, but in the connections we forge. Mia and Tommy taught him to love again, and in return, he gave them the world. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that one act of kindness can change everything, please like this video, share it with someone who needs inspiration, and subscribe for more tales of hope and humanity. Who knows? Your next click could lead to your own unbelievable moment. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.